Welcome back, everyone. Ready to explore a book that's sold over 150 million copies.
150 million, wow.
Yeah, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It's become a modern classic, and today we're doing a deep dive.
Sounds great. I'm excited to see what insights we uncover.
Me too. We'll be working with the 25th anniversary edition, digging into the foreword, the prologue, and of course the story itself.
Okay, so where are we starting?
Well, the book throws us a curveball right off the bat. It starts with this retelling of the myth of Narcissus.
Oh, interesting. Most people just think of him as the vain guy staring at his reflection.
Right. But here, Coelho flips it, focuses on the lake's perspective.
Oh, I see. So instead of Narcissus being the main character, it's the lake.
Yeah. And get this. The lake misses Narcissus, not because he was handsome, but because the lake saw its own beauty reflected in his eyes.
Wow, that's really profound. So it's hinting at self-discovery, right? Finding ourselves through how we interact with the world.
Exactly. It sets the stage for Santiago's journey. He'll discover his treasure through the experiences along the way, not just at the end goal.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connections. So let's meet Santiago. He's the shepherd in Andalusia. Starts off in an abandoned church.
Right. An abandoned church, symbolic much.
Definitely. It represents leaving the familiar, the expected path,
To chase a dream. He keeps having this dream about treasure at the pyramids in Egypt.
Classic call to adventure.
He even goes to a dream interpreter in Tarifa to figure it out.
And she tells him, go for it, but I want 10% of the treasure.
It makes you wonder, is she a true believer or just after the payout?
Right. Is she seeing his dream through the lens of material gain?
It's interesting because Santiago's idea of treasure is going to shift a lot. It won't just be gold coins,
Oh, I bet. Speaking of shifting, what happens in Tangier?
Oh, man, poor Santiago. He gets totally tricked, loses all his money to this supposed guide.
Ouch. But remember those two stones he got? Urim and Thummim?
From the King of Salem, the one who could read Santiago's thoughts.
Yeah. Those represent intuition, that connection to something bigger.
So maybe losing everything forces him to rely on that inner voice more?
Could be. Then he meets the crystal merchant. Complete opposite of a risk taker, right?
Oh, yeah. Totally content with his routine, even though he dreams of going to Mecca.
A dream he never actually pursues.
And it's actually Santiago's energy, his ideas, that get the shop thriving again.
The eye-catching display, selling tea in crystal glasses, right?
Yep. So is the merchant truly content? Or just afraid to change?
It's a good question, isn't it? Is comfort more valuable than chasing a dream? We see both sides.
And for Santiago, at this point, that pull of his personal legend is too strong to ignore. He's got to keep moving.
On to the next adventure.
So he joins this caravan crossing the Sahara Desert.
Oh, wow. Talk about a change of scenery.
Right, from a bustling marketplace to the vast emptiness of the desert.
And that desert becomes a teacher in itself.
Oh, yeah, totally. Remember the camel driver? He's all about being present, appreciating the simple things.
Yeah, like the beauty of the sand dunes, the silence of the desert night. A stark contrast to the crystal merchant, always worrying about the future.
Totally. But then there's the Englishman, head always stuck in a book, looking for the philosopher's stone.
Ah, alchemy. He's got his own quest for knowledge going on.
Right. So Santiago's meeting all these people on different paths.
Each one reflecting a different way of approaching life, different values. Makes you think, what's our approach?
Right. Then there's Fatima, the woman of the desert. Talk about love at first sight.
Ah, Fatima. She's got a quiet strength about her.
And she understands the desert, the way of life there.
She teaches Santiago about unconditional love, too. The kind that supports, doesn't hold back.
But it's tough, right?
Yeah.
He's falling for her, but he's got this personal legend pulling him forward.
It makes you wonder, can we have both? Deep love and fulfill our dreams?
That's a big question a lot of us grapple with.
And it's something the alchemist addresses later on. He explains that true love shouldn't block your personal legend.
Oh yeah, the alchemist. He's kind of a late arrival to the party.
He doesn't show up till the caravan reaches the oasis, but his impact, oh, it's huge.
Yeah, he's shrouded in mystery, this wise mentor figure. Doesn't give Santiago straight answers.
Makes him think, makes him work for it.
But isn't that how real learning happens? Through challenges and figuring things out yourself.
Exactly. And the alchemist, he's the master of reading omens, understanding what Coelho calls the language of the world.
It's like you can see the connections in everything.
Like when he turns lead into gold, remember that scene? It wasn't just magic, it was about personal transformation.
Yeah, the real gold is the wisdom you gain along the way.
Yeah.
But it's not all smooth sailing, right? There's that tribal war that almost destroys the oasis.
And Santiago risks everything to warn the chiefs about the attack. He had a vision, saw it coming.
Intense. But it shows how following your personal legend takes courage.
You have to listen to your heart, even when it's scary.
And then there's that whole thing about fear being an obstacle.
Oh, absolutely. Santiago's battling his fears throughout the whole book. Fear of failure, of loss, of the unknown.
Yeah, fears we all face in different ways.
The alchemist helps him see that fear itself isn't the problem, it's letting it control you.
So Santiago chooses to leave the oasis, even though it means leaving Fatina.
Heartbreaking. But he knows he has to keep going.
And she understands. It's like they both know that if their love is real, it'll survive the distance.
True love shouldn't clip your wings, should it? It should make you want to fly higher.
Then things get really intense. Santiago and the alchemist get captured by these desert tribesmen.
Talk about a test, stripped of everything, facing death.
It's like all that external stuff gets ripped away, and what's left? Their true selves.
And in that moment of vulnerability, the alchemist reveals the true power of alchemy.
Turning himself into the wind, becoming one with the desert.
It's not just about material transformation, it's about tapping into something much bigger, the soul of the world.
And Santiago, through his love for Fatima and his commitment to his journey, he starts to understand that language too.
The language of the desert, the wind, the sun.
And that leads to the treasure. It's not what he expected, is it?
Nope. No chest full of jewels. It's something much deeper. It's about the journey itself, the transformation he went through to get there.
That, in a way, is the most valuable treasure of all. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, what's my personal legend? What's my treasure?
Yeah, it's a powerful idea, right? Like that question's echoing in all of us who read the book.
It's inspiring, but also kind of overwhelming. Where do you even begin to figure that out?
It can feel that way for sure. I mean, Santiago had all these like crazy encounters, signs pointing him forward.
A king, a dream interpreter, an alchemist who could turn into the wind.
Right. But remember, it all started with him paying attention to that inner nudge, that recurring dream.
Okay, so it's about tuning in, listening to those whispers inside. What excites you? What scares you, but also kind of draws you in?
Exactly. Those feelings can be powerful clues. They might be pointing you towards what truly resonates with you.
So it's not just about thinking about it. It's about, what, taking a leap of faith.
It's about action, yeah. Maybe not a huge life-altering leap right away, but what's one small step you can take today?
One thing to move you closer to, I don't know, that thing that's calling you, even if it's just a little bit.
Exactly. And maybe you won't have a king appear, but you might start noticing those little synchronicities, those omens.
Those moments where it's like the universe is winking at you saying, keep going, you're on the right track.
Right. It's about being open to those possibilities, trusting that maybe, just maybe, things are working out in ways you can't even see yet.
You know, what's really striking to me is how Santiago ends up back where he started, but he's not the same shepherd anymore.
That's the beauty of it, right? The journey itself, all those challenges, all that growth, that's what transforms you.
So the treasure isn't just the destination, it's who you become along the way.
Exactly. And that transformation, that's something no one can ever take away from you.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into The Alchemist, what's the big takeaway? What should we all be pondering as we go back to our own lives?
Well, I think the question Coelho leaves us with is this. What will your treasure be? And what will you do today to start digging for it?
Great question. That's something for all of us to reflect on. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into The Alchemist. It's been a fascinating journey. And to all of you listening, until next time, keep seeking, keep dreaming, and keep listening to your heart.